Okay, we're on page 2 of the Algebra 2 notes for section 6.1. And a lot of vocabulary on this page, important vocabulary. All right, we're going to start with what it means to be in standard form. You got to clear the parentheses out of the problem using either distributive or FOIL. You got to write your exponents. They have to go from highest exponent at the start to the lowest exponent at the back, which is typically your constant number. And the numbers in front of the variables are called the coefficients when you're done. That's Coefficients. Spell it correctly. And if you got several terms in the polynomial, then each of those monomials, if you got several monomials, then they're called terms. So a single monomial inside a bigger polynomial is called a term. All right, so we're going to get practice on two problems where we got to put it in standard form. And I'll start by distributing here. You're going to get 12x squared to start with, minus 15x. And on the back half, after I get my plus sign written down, I get 6x. My outside pair is 42. My inside pair here is negative 2x cubed. And finally, I get minus 14x squared here. Okay, now we got to collect these in the right order. So start with the one with the highest exponent. And then I'm going to collect the two quadratic ones, put them together. Looks like I got some linear ones here. And that'll give negative 9x. And the only thing I haven't taken into account is that constant, the 42. There you go. So that one's in standard form. Okay, the next example here, I'm going to keep the 4 on the back burner. Distribute here or FOIL this out. You get 16x to start with. That outside pair is minus 6x squared. The inside is plus 40. And last times last here is minus 15x. Okay, I think I'll simplify inside the parentheses first. And once I've done that, let me double check here. 16x minus 15x, yeah, that's 1x. Then I'll just simply distribute that 4 all the way down. And we have this one in standard form. Okay. So the next section here, we're supposed to learn how to classify polynomials by their number of terms. Later on, we'll be classifying it by degree. And they're different. So you have to figure out that you're being asked to do different tasks when these instructions change, okay? I mark a lot of people wrong for doing the skill that's associated with the other instructions. So you got to really pay attention. Okay, I'm going to go to line 3 here, and I see my first term, my second term, and my third term. Excuse me. I've chosen to separate them with these slashes so it makes it easier to see. Anytime you see a plus or minus sign, you're starting a new term. So on that line, I have two examples where there's 3 terms. Once again, first term, second term, third term, just so you can see it. And that makes these trinomials. If they only have 2 terms, they're binomials. And one term we've learned already is a monomial. Anything more than 3, there's no special name, so you have to give it a generic treatment here. Both of these are examples of a polynomial. You can abbreviate like I'm doing here, with, and just put a W with a slash behind it. Yeah, it didn't look so good, so let me try again. With, and then you got to specify the number of terms, so these examples have 4 terms. There's no such thing as a quadrinomial or a quaternomial or something like that. And if it's got 5, you certainly wouldn't say a pentanomial. You would say, just like here, polynomial with 4 terms. Okay, now we're going to learn how to classify a monomial by degree. On the next page, you're going to learn how to do the same, classify a polynomial by degree, and they're slightly different. So the degree of a monomial is the sum of its exponents. So let me find a good place to show you that. Okay, this one here. You've got a third power, and then it's hidden, but there's a first power there. Add those together, and you get fourth power. Now, better yet would be to think of it this way. If you write these out, I'm going to do the one next to it. Okay, you've got 4 variables multiplied by each other. And the same over here, although they're different variables, but that's 3 n's and an m for a total of 4 variables. And you might notice that I'm ignoring the coefficients when I do this. These are both quartic. Fifth power is quintic. Or if you think about this one has the length of the variable string. There would be an x and 4 y's. When you count the x and all 4 y's, there's 5 variables in that, all multiplied by each other. X times y times y times y times y. That's what makes that one quintic. Okay, going back, this is cubic when there's 3 of them. Quadratic when there's just 2 of them. Linear when there's only 1 variable. And when there's no variable at all, it's called constant. Okay, so anything above that, well, let me just make one comment first. 3 of these words start with Q. You could get these easily confused, so you have to do whatever it takes to learn that quadratic is what you use when it's got 2 variables. 4 and 5 are quartic and quintic. And you have to learn to spell them. Okay. Anything above 5 is generic. So polynomial with degree hashtag. Excuse me, I've got a really bad cough. And that should be obvious in these videos, but I've been trying to edit it out a little bit. Anyway, this last 2 problems here, we have a polynomial with degree 10. And this last one here is a polynomial with degree, and this may surprise you, 50. There's 20 x's followed by 30 y's. If you wrote it all out, we ignore the 6. All right, so that does it for page 2 on our notes. Yay.